Are you a woman in business? Are you looking to join the growing ranks of female entrepreneurs taking over the world? You've come to the right place. On Babes in Business, we'll be covering all things business from the female perspective and giving you the tools to empower you on your journey. So now, let's get ready to be empowered on Babes in Business. Hello, thank you for joining us. We're back for another episode of Babes in Business. I am Michelle Dempsey, your HBIC, head babe in charge. A few things I want to get into this evening before we do anything and introduce our amazing guests. I have to thank last week's guest, Carrie Vasallo of VMBG Accounting. Carrie, you brought us so much energy and such a great story. People keep emailing me and texting me and calling me to tell me how amazing last week's show was, and I have to agree, it totally was. Have to give a shout out to this awesome girl I met last week. I was speaking at an event for the Women Inspiring Women group, and this girl came simply because she had heard our show and it had made such an impact on her. Victoria, thank you. We appreciate the support. I want to start with a quote that we're going to get into later this evening. A successful woman is one who can build a strong foundation with the bricks others have thrown at her. That is something that I have on my personal Facebook page. It's something that our guest tonight knows a lot about, and I'm excited for you to get to know her. Galina, why don't you take it away from here?
Thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure.
So my name is Galina. I am the founder of Erman Law Group. We are a full-service immigration law firm, and I like to focus on employment and investor-based visas. In addition, I'm also a realtor with Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, Florida Realty, and I am on an amazing team, the Lucky Real Estate team. So I mix my immigration and real estate, and I do both.
See, I find it fascinating that you do both, because some people find one thing and they stick to it and they hone in on it. And when I met you, you were like, yeah, I do this, but I also have this business, and I was really confused. I didn't know. I didn't know I was...
A lot of people are like, wait, you're an attorney? When do you have time to do real estate? And it's a challenge, but that's why I have my own firm, so I'm a little bit more flexible. But I also have an amazing team that I work on in my real estate business, and when I'm busy or not around, I have these amazing people that pick up my slack.
Well, now in getting to know your business, it makes a lot of sense why you do both. She's a strategy girl. You know I love a good strategy. You're an immigration attorney.
Yes.
So people come from other countries and they say, Galina, help me. I need to get set up in this country. They're all set up and they say, now I need a home. Boom, we have the perfect realtor. I love it. I think it's brilliant. When did you decide that those were two things that had to be in your line of practice?
So that's not originally why I started that.
Oh, that's a great move.
Originally, what happened was, because I do investor-based visas, I had clients that were buying businesses in order to do their immigration. And they were buying the wrong businesses because realtors just want to sell you a business. They don't understand the legal side of it. So I was like, well, if I can get involved on the purchasing of the business for immigration purposes, then we don't have to fix any mistakes and it can be a smooth transition. So the idea was to help them purchase a business. But then it did develop into, well, I'm here now, I need a house, or I want to buy, I want to sell, I want to invest. And so it just kind of rolled, and that's
You're what I like to call a pioneer. And I love the pioneers, the people who decide this is something I'm going to try and make it work. And on that topic, you are pioneering yourself into a whole new venture that I think, A, is brilliant that you jumped on top of it. B, I think if all goes through the way we hope, you're going to kill it. And everybody else will be saying, why didn't I think of that? Do you want to share a little bit about what you're doing?
Sure. So I'll kind of give a background how I got started on that. It was really real estate. I got an opportunity to speak at an event, and they said, well, you're an attorney and you're a realtor. Why don't you talk about the real estate market if medical marijuana happens, gets approved?
November, approve it.
And, I looked into my real estate background and my legal background, and there's a lot of, things that kind of went hand in hand. You have to find a property that's in a correctly zoned place, and you have to deal with the city, and you have to get licensing and approval. And I'm already doing that for my immigration clients and their other businesses. So it kind of, again, went hand in hand. Now, I don't recommend this business to my immigration clients, just putting it out there that they should not be involved in that.
So immigrants should not come to this country and try and sell drugs, is what you're telling me. Okay.
Nobody,
Duly noted.
unless you have a license, nobody should be doing that.
Okay.
But yeah, so again, just something I was doing, and it just made sense to combine the real estate part and the legal part, and that's what I'm doing now.
She's a smart girl. As you can tell, I bring the good ones on Babes in Business. One thing I have to shout out right now here in South Florida, we're preparing for a hurricane. How fascinating. Thank you, Hurricane Matthew, for ruining my weekend plans, potentially my speaking plans tomorrow at Galuppi's in Pompano. I am speaking with Fem City. Would love for you to come join us. If you can't because you're hunkered down for this ridiculous storm, I get it. But anyway, back to Galena. You're obviously a smart cookie. You are a law firm owner. You're a realtor with a great team. You are doing all of these things. You're pioneering now into the medical marijuana movement, which I think is really tremendous. And I think if we're lucky enough to have it passed down here, it can be changing a lot of lives. And you're going to be at the forefront of that. You're young. You're relatively young, right? We're early 30s. It's young to some people.
I'm in the 30s club.
Welcome to it. It's fabulous.
Thank you.
And you're a beautiful girl, and you're well-spoken. And do you find you have a hard time, or you're not as well received as you think you might be from certain clients with maybe a preconceived notion of what a lawyer should look like?
Yes, absolutely. When it comes to law, I get comments all the time. And my clients treat me a little bit differently. One of the stories that still sticks in my head was I just started and I had to go to immigration court to do paperwork so that I can go in front of the judge. And I didn't know where I was going, and I asked a few of the guys next to the elevator, do you know where this department is? And they kind of looked at me and made a comment to each other like, when we started, attorneys never look like that. And
well, I would take that as a compliment.
I did.
Okay.
Of course, they told me where to go, and I did what I had to do. But, I wish that I didn't have to go through that, but I don't let it, it doesn't upset me. I try to use it to my benefit. But then I, have clients that do question, well, you're so young, do you know what you're doing? And
what an insult, right?
Yeah, because I want them to say, how many of these cases have you done that got approved? Not, you don't look like you know what you're doing.
It's funny because I used to get that back when I was still in education. I was a young teacher. So many of us were, and you'd go into a school building and you would see all girls under 25 years old teaching. And everybody would say to me, like, I remember they were usually the dads. The dads would say, you look really young. Is this your first year, in the classroom? But from the principal perspective, they wanted the young girls out of school because those were the girls, first of all, whose ideas were newer, who were more willing to be flexible and learn about new ideas and implement new strategies. And I feel the same goes across the board. When you have a young mind and you haven't yet, solidified your way of doing things and become really set in your ways, I feel you're more valuable to a client. And I guess people don't understand that if they're coming from a mentality of preconceived notions, which is unfair on all levels.
Especially in law. When you're in big law and you're a client, you talk to the secretary, the paralegal, you never get to the attorney. When you are in a small boutique firm and somebody really, is trying so hard to get their name out, they're trying harder for you. You are constantly talking to them. You're direct with them. They're more available for you. They're not charging you crazy billable hours. And I wish they appreciated that more than just saying, well, do you know what you're doing?
Yeah, I know. No, I get it. And I've heard that before, too. I have, my business is fairly new, like I always talk about. There's been a handful of clients or prospective clients who say, well, I want to see who you've worked for because you haven't been doing this long. And they would doubt my ability. Now, I get it. If you're spending money for something, you want to make sure you're getting the best of the best. But something essentially led this client to you the way they were led to me. And it wasn't with a doubt that you could be great at what you do. So it's just amazing to me that, as far as we've at least tried to come with women in the workplace and equality and all of that, there's still that idea that if you're young, you can't know that much.
Yeah. But, your actions and results prove otherwise. And that's what I kind of focus on, because when the end result is they get, their visa or their green card, the relationship changes.
Right.
Now
all of a sudden
really
you're a hero.
Appreciate you.
Our hero,
Yes.
Galena Ehrman from the Galena Ehrman Law Group.
And, I'll just make a small point. Since I started, I've had now 4 or 5, I don't remember, cases that were denied by previous attorneys. And then the client came to me and we completely restructured and redid everything and got approvals. And so that's what I want to tell the clients. That's what I want them to ask about.
Yeah. The success rate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think one day you're going to look back and you're going to be like, man, when I was young and my skin was still perfect and I wish I took those compliments better. But I think if nothing more, if you have a good attitude and you are confident in your abilities, which I know that you are, the things people have to say are just, like I said last week, let your haters be your motivators.
I was going to say it's motivation.
Yes, absolutely.
Everyone who keeps saying negative things, you just need to prove them wrong.
Well, tell us, because we're going to go to a break in a few minutes here already. Goes super quick.
It does.
Tell us where we can find you, because I know that there are definitely people listening who want to know more about Galena Ehrman.
So my website is www.ehrmanlawgroup.com.
Ehrman is URMAN.
Yes. And just a shout out to Michelle and her team, who just put my website together and it went live.
We've made, I didn't know.
We upgraded.
We upgraded. Galena hired me to do content a while back, and I had to be honest and say, look, we need an update on your website. This was before my company was offering that. Now we are offering website development. Shout out to my amazing web developer. You know who you are.
He's amazing.
I have a great logo guy. Blake, you know who you are. I've got it all. And it's funny how my business has evolved, but we finally took Galena's look to the next level, and it's gorgeous. So you're definitely going to want to check out her site. And if, you want my help, you know where to find me, www.michelledempsey.com, 2 L's, Dempsey like Patrick, no relation. Give us one good thing you are focusing on this week before we go to break.
Oh my God, this week I have a few real estate things that I'm doing this week, thanks to my partner. We are signing a contract for somebody that we've been looking for a while. So finally found a perfect house for him and his girlfriend. And I actually knew them before, so I knew him before the girlfriend. So when he came back to me and said, hey, me and my girlfriend are looking for a house, can you help us? It's like the best feeling, because they come and they trust you, and this is a big event.
That's a big event. That's
so
awesome.
We're signing a contract, and then I got a listing from somebody who lives in New Jersey. So when I was on vacation, I signed some paperwork in New Jersey, and we'll be listing a property in Del Rey.
Lots of great things happening for that babe in business. Lots of great things happening for this babe. We're going to a break. Thank you to our sponsor, the Dempsey Law Firm, and we'll be back. See you soon. Thank you for listening to Babes in Business. And let me tell you, if you're looking for a lawyer, I've got the guy for you. The show is brought to you by the Dempsey Law Firm, PA, a civil litigation boutique specializing in personal injury and wills, trust, and estate planning. The firm founder and attorney, Elliot Dempsey, serves clients across South Florida for issues ranging from auto accidents and slip and falls to your basic will or trust to protect your loved ones. We've all got loved ones, so he's the right guy to call for it. The Dempsey Law Firm can be found online at www.thedempseylaw.com or call him by phone at 954-667-8120. Tell him Michelle sent you. And don't forget, change is the law of life. Thank you for listening to Babes in Business. I am your number one babe in business, your host, Michelle Dempsey of Very Well Written, the business I founded to help other entrepreneurs get their businesses off the ground with great content, strategy, branding, social media, editing, and anything in the way of words. I've got you covered, www.michelledempsey.com, or you can call me at 305-469-7500. Don't forget forget to tune in every Tuesday night at 7 o'clock to join me and a fellow babe in business talk all things business. Can't wait to see you there. Are you feeling empowered to be a babe in business? Just when you thought you had all the secrets, I'm getting ready to share some more. We'll see you there on Babes in Business. We're back. Thanks so much for joining us for the second half of Babes in Business. We have a real babe in business, Galina Ehrman. She is the owner of her law firm, the Ehrman Law Group, and she's got another thing in the works that she's going to plug for us right now. Before we say anything else, I have to say that we've got like a week and a half left to the Women in Power Expo, which I know you're going to come hear me speak. You guys, you have to get tickets. Founder Alexa Carlin posted something awesome today on the site. For $30, the cost of a ticket, what can you do with $30? You can get yourself a Kylie Jenner lip kit, waste of money, or you can go be empowered by the amazing women and speakers and vendors that will be at this event. Next Saturday at the Fort Lauderdale Convention Center, come see me and 49 other amazing women who are speaking on their own stages. I'll be speaking at 3:30. I really hope to see you there. I'm going to be talking about some great stuff. Anyway, we're back. Galina, tell us. We have EhrmanLawGroup.com. What else do we have?
Yes. Another thing that I just launched with my real estate team is a website for pet-friendly listings.
Pet-friendly house real estate listings. Brilliant.
So if you're moving down and you need a rental or you need to buy a condo or a home and you have pets, we take care of them too.
That's amazing.
And so that website is www.goquaka.com.
How do you spell quaka?
Okay, it's GOQUOKKA.
GoQuaka.com. I love it. I love it because that's so random, number one. But it goes.
It's so random. It's so random.
It's okay.
But we saw a need for it.
There's a need for it.
It's Miami. Everyone, lost their dog.
I lost my first apartment in Sunny Isles. I had a great apartment when I first moved down here 4 years ago. I met my now husband, who had his two dogs, a 70-pound lab and a 12-pound chihuahua, and he wasn't allowed to move in. I had to get a whole new apartment, and it was such a horrible process to find something new. So I value that. I think that's great. I also think your entrepreneurial spirit is awesome, and you're a woman after my own heart. So I'm really glad you're here.
Thank you.
Let's talk about something, because you and I, a lot of the people that come on the show are in this whole female networking game. We're out there meeting other women. I love it. It fills me up. It's my favorite thing to do. But I know it's a little bit different when it comes to women in the workplace. It's really, having been a teacher and then having worked for other women, there's just something tough about it. And I know we've all had our experiences. I could share, for me, it was always really tough because I was a yes person. Never knew how to say no, even when I really needed to. Now I finally grew a backbone, so hooray for me. But what are some experiences you've had that you're willing to talk about?
My experiences have been pretty good. Women are known for kind of being catty and not working together. I've had great experiences. And now that I do all this networking, I'm meeting women and young girls in the same position as me. And all I want to do is connect them to other people that I know that I think would be great too. Like we had that coffee date, and that's when you met Carrie, who was last week's
that's right.
Speaker.
That's right.
I'm assuming Melinda will
Melinda's coming on the show. Hey, Melinda, you get a shout out every week, girl.
So there's other dates we were trying to, put together, but getting attorneys together is kind of difficult. Yeah. But I think that we need to empower each other and work together, and that's the only way we're going to...
So you share the sharing is caring mentality. I'm a big believer in the girl gang. I know not everybody does. And I know South Florida is basically infiltrated with attorneys. Have you found that there are women that are a little bit closed off and are not as open to receiving the sort of connecting type of personality you're trying to cover them in? Or
I think it depends on where their position is. If they're their own business women and entrepreneurs and have their own businesses, I think we're more open. At least from the experiences I had.
Yeah.
I think if you're in the corporate world and you kind of need to climb your way up to the up the ladder, you're a little bit more catty maybe. Yeah. But when you're on your own, you answer to yourself. You don't need to answer to anyone else.
That
And when
is
you
the
meet
best.
women who want to help you, you kind of bond. And those that maybe the dynamic isn't there, you're free to go your own way.
Right.
You don't have to work together.
But, I find it so, like, when the dynamic isn't there, I know it's not me. Like, I can come across strong. Obviously, I have a big mouth, but it's all for the greater good of that person. I genuinely want to help other people. So when the dynamic isn't there,
Right.
it makes me think, what is this person so closed off from? And I've run into that 1,000%. There's a million people who do what I do. I know why I do it better than most, or I think I do. I think I do. But there's definitely those people that are more like, stay away, I'm going to do my own thing. And then later on down the road, you realize those are the ones that probably needed the most help. I think it's an ego thing, right? Because it's like people who don't want to stop for directions when they're lost. You know who you are, men. But it's like, it's an ego thing because the second you stop and ask for help, people think you're going to be perceived as, I don't know anything. And that's so crazy because I still learn every day. And as I'm sure you do too.
There's always something to learn, and someone's going to teach you something that you don't know. So I'm very open to learning new things and collaborating and meeting new people, new areas. It's going to benefit me.
Right.
So
Right.
I'm open for it.
So are you part, I know you've networked with somewhere where I've met you, but how many other like things do you put yourself
Do I
in?
do?
Yeah. Are you one of those like serial networkers like me or?
I was, and I still am. But I obviously do my networking group every other Thursday at 7 a.m., which has been a great experience.
ENG, right?
ENG, yes.
Shout out to you guys.
Yes. They've been great. And with my business, while I do the immigration, I offer them a lot of business services. And a lot of my clients will start with immigration, and they'll come back and say, hey, I need insurance. I need medical insurance. Can I do this? Can I do that? I need a will. I need a trust. There's always something. And when they come to this country and you're their first contact, that's all they know. So no matter what they need, they call you.
Now, speaking of coming to this country, you can speak from experience. So I think that's phenomenal. You are helping people who essentially went through exactly what you went through. Can you tell us a little bit about your past?
Sure.
Not to put you on the spot, but just do it anyway.
This is a good story. The American dream is that we call it. I came here when I was 6.
From?
We were refugees from the former Soviet Union.
Wow.
So we came in 92.
And I talk about moving from New York like it was this big thing. All of New York is down here. You're amazing. Continue.
It's not me. It's my parents. They were the ones who packed up their life and moved here. I was 6. I started school here. So the transition for me was easy. But I definitely remember the struggle and seeing my dad, come here and learn English and take his exams to become a doctor again here in America.
What kind of doctor is he?
He's an anesthesiologist, and he just moved down here from Michigan.
So you're originally from Michigan?
Yes, Michigan. So he's now down in Florida enjoying the sunshine. Maybe
and
not
still
this
practicing,
week.
right,
And
in Aventura?
Yeah. So I've always had him to kind of look up to about motivation and getting it done and becoming something in this country. Now, truthfully, there was a little struggle because my family's so used to being professionals and working for somebody that when I went on my own, it wasn't
the typical
thing to do.
Right. And when you come from a home with more old school parents, like some immigrant parents tend to be, I know mine is. My mom was an immigrant to this country. Love you, mommy. The out of the box thing freaks them out.
Yeah.
Tell me how you won them over.
I don't know if I did.
Probably just by proving your success and your ability to do it.
I had to do it. At the point of my life when I went on my own and when I got started, I had to do what I had to do.
I love that. You do what you have to do.
And that's what I had to do. And it's still not easy being on your own and building your business. There's days when you're like, maybe I should go and work for somebody else.
What would you say to yourself on those days? Because now, you're having a great week. You're winning at life this week. You've got good things happening. What would you say to yourself on those days where you're like, I'm going to throw in the towel and go back to my old work for someone else life?
I put in too much.
You put in too much effort.
It's been 2 years, 3 maybe. So much work has been into it.
You've come too far to turn
You know
back
what?
now.
There was an attorney that I met when I just got started, and he said you are planting your seeds, and it's super hard right now because you're just planting, but one day they'll all come up.
I think that's a great lesson to leave our listeners with. If you are thinking of making a move, if you have been dying your whole life to be your own boss and you're just not sure if you can make it, the true test is consistency and perseverance, and you have to know it's not going to be easy. I talk about success as if, anybody can have it, because they can, but it's really, you got to put in the elbow grease, you got to put in the time and energy, and you have to have those days where you just want to cry in a ball and not get out of bed. It happens. It's life.
Happens.
It can't all be great, because then you would never appreciate it the way it needs to be appreciated. Before we go, give us your website one last time.
www.urman lawgroup.com.
And I am Michelle Dempsey. Keep it smart, keep it sassy, keep it successful, and keep being a babe in business. We'll see you next week. Thanks for joining us. Like they say, all good things must come to an end. But the good news is we'll be back next week with more tips, more secrets, and more strategies to empower you on your business babe journey. Did you like something you heard today, or would you like to join us on the show? Please contact me now at 305-469-7500 or visit me on the web at www.michelledempsey.com. I look forward to connecting with you and helping you become a babe in business.
The opinions expressed on the preceding sponsored program were strictly those of its hosts, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors.